Hey guys, today we're going to have a really interesting video retaining with holdbacks. Very interesting topic. We're going to dwell on it a little bit and turn the focus up on it. Hopefully you guys will be able to follow me as I go through it, because there's not a concrete answer to it really. Everyone's situation is going to be extremely different. There's going to be different levels to what you want to do out there. But it was really kind of a perfect storm scenario, because won't put them on blast, but I was talking to a fellow breeder, and I took something from the conversation that for me didn't really make much sense. So I want to try to hopefully elaborate on what we do with it. And they were doing a breeding. Obviously a male to a female, won't even get into the pairing, but basically they say, oh yeah, well, barring, they have a certain amount of eggs, they're holding back 4 or 5 from this clutch. And for me, I sat there, it really didn't make much sense. But then right behind that, the next day, I was talking with someone who was actually inquiring about what we do here, where we produce, and how much do we hold back. If we produce 200, 250 ball pythons, is it a rule of thumb that we hold back, 25%, 20% of it? So the kind of issues go hand in hand. That's why I said it's kind of a perfect storm. So we're going to elaborate a little bit in this video. Hey guys, what's going on? Will here, Flawless Exotic Creations. Hopefully you guys are having a very flawless week, and hopefully this video makes it even better. If you guys have been watching us for a while, this video or this channel is primarily for new keepers and new breeders looking to get into the hobby side of it, the enthusiast side of it. Just having fun with it is perfectly fine, but also trying to make some sense of the business side of things. And again, disclaimer, we are basically applying the same business plan we did with Flawless Crested Geckos over here, kind of in a fast forward method with the ball pythons. We've been doing pretty decently well, can't complain at all. We are ahead of the game with our business plan, so that's doing well. And again, we feel that putting this content out there can possibly help someone. So please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Don't feel that we are trying to push you in one way or another. We want to be transparent on how we think, what we do, things that work, things that don't. At the same time, hopefully offer any advice out there for you guys to be successful at what you're doing. So hopefully I can paint a great picture for you guys to hopefully visualize and bring it across as non-judgmental as possible, because that's the last thing we want to do here at Flawless, is judge you, because that's not going to happen. So here we go. Holdbacks. Very interesting topic. We've been asked questions in the past. These two, I guess one's kind of a statement and then one was a question from this past week, was very interesting. So when we produce, we have season 1 and season 2 under our belt. This is season 3 that we're in. So by no means are we veterans or professionals. We're trying our hardest to get this thing done. When we do, our holdbacks start from our breeding plans. Okay, so when we run through our entire collection on what's coming to size, we run them on the ultrasound. We do all these parameters to try to figure out what's the best use of our males and the best use of our females. Genetics come into play, where there are certain genes, certain combinations we're looking to push for that can hopefully plan us and set us up for a year 4, 5, 6 ahead. Every pairing, like we did in our last week's video, kind of wanted to elaborate on that. Every pairing that you plan, just because you have a successful lot, does not mean they end up going for you. In a setup, I guess as large and small as ours, because we are a small breeder with a larger, I guess, collection, but every breeding we plan, we really hope for that breeding to go for us. It's very rare that we have, 2 and 3 females of similar genetics in the same breeding project. There's very few projects that, we have set up like that by design. And we were able to capitalize on that. And in a sense, we're seeing things come full circle because those projects are progressing faster for us. We end up with more holdbacks, even with not every female in those pairings or breeding projects going. So that kind of is proof of concept for us that whole video from last week, it really, really works. Now, when you're choosing your holdbacks, when we do certain pairings, we're looking for certain things. Right off the top of my head, we just released a female. I want to say she sold in, I think she's still here in South Carolina, but our goal for the breeding, we have a hidden gene Wama clown, and we also have a pastel hidden gene Wama clown. We really like hidden gene Wama, and for that project, those females were specifically brought into the collection to pair with our pastel stranger double het puzzle clown male. The goal of that was to basically produce, in hopes, stranger hidden gene Wama clown that will be het for puzzle. Did we hit any of that? No. So that would be holdback number one for us. And ideally, it would be male or female for that combination. Next on the tier in that same breeding would have been to hopefully hit a hidden gene Wama stranger double het puzzle clown. Luckily enough, we hit one hidden gene Wama stranger in both clutches. Both were without pastel, which was a major win. We tested the first girl because both ended up being females, which was another major win. We tested the first girl and she came back 100% double het puzzle clown. Ring, celebration. She's a holdback. Okay, so held her back. She has a little bit more size than the younger girl who we just sold. Well, why did we sell the younger girl? Because we sent her test in. She's a stranger, hidden gene Wama, and her test came back as 100% het for clown, negative for puzzle. So even though that's useful, we want to keep the bar high for ourselves, and we decided to release her and give it a go again to hopefully hit that hidden gene Wama stranger clown het puzzle. So I say all that, and if I go through this long kind of rundown of every single pairing and everything we go through, this video will be probably 3 hours. All I'm saying is there have to be certain guidelines of what you're looking for when you're pairing your male and your females. What is your goal for doing a breeding? We have no breedings where we're like, all right, we're going to breed this male to this female. We can't wait to have babies to sell. We don't have any pairings like that. So we designed it and set things up quite differently. And again, if you guys are getting into this industry hobby, you're going to want to have some sort of a plan. My brain is going crazy, and to bring this concept, the holdback ideal, full circle for you guys, how about we give you guys a visual? We're going to head down to the vault and grab a few, show it off, tell you the pairing, the breeding, and why we held them back. So let's go. Okay, so I guess the best way to give you guys a visual of what we're really talking about, and how we're going about doing things, and how to be extremely, hopefully, hyper focused, and hopefully drive that message home for you guys. We want to put a few snakes on showcase and show you guys what we're talking about. So we'll start off with something like this. Now, something like this looks relatively plain Jane, but this is from our tragic project. This girl just ate yesterday, but she is a holdback here. We have 4 other girls that's growing nicely right along with her. She's a little spicy, but this girl here is also 100% het for pie. If we go out there, there's not a bunch available, if any, on the tragic gene. And again, we're blessed enough to have a breeder male, and we're working heavily with it. This would be a holdback for us. Don't really see it changing, regardless of what we're doing with it or not. It's just not readily available everywhere. So we're going to kind of test the waters and see what we can do with the gene. But that will be a holdback. All right, time to complicate things a little bit. So this one here, this will be a holdback for us. This one here is Orange Stream, Inchy, Leopard, hypo pod. She was 50% double het DG and ultra male. Tested her. It came back negative for ultra male, but she is het, 100% het for DG. So again, visual hypopod, orange dream inchy leopard in the combination. She's also 100% het for DG. We're working the DG pod project very, very hard. That makes her a holdback for us. We can do some very, very interesting things by holding this girl back. And once again, if you look at the market on what's available, there are none available for this girl. So that in and of itself, in a project we're working, would make her a holdback. We can't even go out and buy her if we are looking to buy her. Okay, we're going to stick with the DG Pod project for a little bit. This here is a pastel orange stream yellow belly Wookie Pod, 100% het for Desert Ghost. Yet again, this combination is not out there where you can go out there and buy it. It's definitely not something worked super hard yet, but this is a project that we're in, so that would make her a holdback. I don't really see her leaving here anytime soon. Again, she'll probably end up replacing one of our pod het DG girls with no other codoms at some point. Okay, and now we got another one, that same project. Look at how wild that girl is. This is another female. This is an orange dream yellow belly Wookie double het DG pod. So she is probably going to be here for a little while, but this is a holdback for us. We're going to work that project super hard. We're loving what Wookie does. It keeps everything, the black super dark on this girl on the non-visual pod, and she's going to help us hit some of them hopefully Wookie DG pods in the future. Another thing, you go out there and look for it, it's not available. We can't go out there and purchase it. So again, in our planning process, we've been planning for these specific breedings to hopefully hit the odds and hit these pairings, and we were blessed enough to do so. All right, the exception to the rule. I'm going to show this boy off. You can see it's a really cool pattern. This right here is a LC. Okay, 100% het for pied, 50% het for lav. Now, this male is actually available. Really cool project. It's untapped. Our model is a lot of times, because we have a breeder male that's he's already, I want to say 1100 grams, and he's het dreamsicle. So ideally, if we hit this in the breedings, we would probably keep it back and hold it back as a backup. Who knows if something happens to that male. If you've been watching us for a while, we have had a very expensive male die on us and go to the vet, and there was really no rhyme or reason and nothing we can do about it. So we would hold this one back. The reason we aren't holding this one back is because we actually hit, he's in shed right now, but we hit, actually I'll show him off real quick. So this is the reason why we're not holding that previous male back. He's in shed, deep shed, but he still looks phenomenal. This is LC Black Magic Pied, 50% het for lav, and we're not really working lav, but we're going to get this boy nice and big, get some size on him, get some age on him, and he will be our LC breeder male, and our one that we have breeding now will be the backup to him. So that's the way we think about things. So this girl here has got some serious size on her. Now this girl, obviously you see the cool pattern, she is Stranger. This was from that breeding earlier stages where we were hoping that she would be also het puzzle, het clown, and she is het clown by virtue of the breeding. We didn't have to test for that side of her, but she came back negative for het puzzle. So we already have this girl now in the collection that is Stranger, het clown, growing nicely with some size, and we'll be able to add some different combinations in the breedings as we move forward. Again, chasing more of the Stranger and the other combinations other than puzzle and clown together. We have options. But that being said, we know that this is not something that's cutting edge per se, but it is for us. if you check on Morph Market, I mean, there's not a whole bunch of, stranger het clown females up there just readily available at cheap prices with size on them. So this is something that we're going to hold back, continue to work with. And again, she'll be in the tub to add some flavor to certain projects that we end up working with. And staying on the stranger kick. So right here we have a spot nose stranger. She's also a possible orange dream, but this girl here is also het clown. All right, no other hets involved. This is something also, like I said with the last girl, to add into the collection as we continue to move forward with the stranger gene. This was one of the goals to hit, and we hit it in a female, so we're going to continue to work it. This is another female where it's like, okay, cool, they are out there on Morph Market, but it's going to be a nice little penny that you're going to spend to attain her. So we were lucky enough to produce her in-house. We have a game plan for her, and we're going to execute. So as of right now, this little beauty is here as well. This girl here is a leopard fire pastel visual clown pod. She's possible super leopard because she had leopard on both sides, but she is absolutely stunning. So we're working her where she'll grow up and add to the visual clown pod females we have here. Plans can change with her depending on what we see become available out on the market, but also, as plans change and we need more females for certain projects, she still may stay, but there's nothing here in her genetic makeup that's going to say, all right, she is permanently going to stay here, period, because clown pod is heavily worked. Some would say that genetically just clown pod is becoming more of a pet. And I can understand why they would say so because of the price points. But once you start adding some incomplete dominance to the actual double visual version, the project in and of itself still holds a lot of value. And we can't do a holdback video without showing off a little toxic. So this is actually, if she'll cooperate with me, this is toxic yellow belly clown, 100% het for pod. This girl here has some good size on her already. Chill out, mama. We also have a male, her sibling, that has leopard in the mix as well. She's super bright with the yellow belly climbing up the belly, but her darks in the middle, her pattern is off. That's that toxic gene from Tyler's Toxic Balls. Good friend. Also competitor of ours on 15 Minutes of Lame this year. So this is going to be really cool to watch this gene develop. The reason I want to show her off here is because, again, this gene is going to be untapped, that toxic gene, and we're going to work it to its fullest potential. And when we pop out anything with toxic in it, male or female, at this point, we're not really going to be able to release it until we can figure out what it's doing with other combination of other genes. We got to work it for ourselves first. And here we go. This girl here is a stunner. What you're looking at is an orange dream inchy leopard ultra male pod, 100% het for hypo. So yes, plenty incomplete dominant genes in the mix. And she is a stunner, and we actually have 6 of these girls that we held all of them back because they will move our triple project as well into our quad project. We could do different things with different females as we continue to move forward, and they will add to our projects and programs much more beneficial than getting the monetary value of them, of putting them out into the market. So we kept them all. We also have 1 male that, again, we have the Aussie boy, but still that will be that 1-2 punch to continue working that project, and it is a phenomenal project to work. So we're super excited about it. This girl and none of her other siblings and half siblings will ever probably go anywhere because we don't see making females better than this for this specific project probably for the next 5 to 7 years if we're lucky. And just figured I'll show this girl off too. This is a sibling, just opened her tub and she's looking absolutely stunning. And man, love what leopard's doing in this combination. I can't wait to see this combination with that extra coat of hypo, visual hypo. This one is actually het hypo. Again, orange stream inchy leopard ultra male pied, 100% het hypo. All right, this is more of a simple combination here with a little bit of a twist for us. So right here, what we're working and trying to focus on is this is an Orange Dream, okay, 100% het for Desert Ghost and 50% het for paint. So we got a few girls like this. I want to say 3 girls that are 50% het paint, but 100% het DG. We also have 1 male that's a spot nose, same thing, het DG, 50% het paint. The paint test, paint and sentinel test isn't out yet. So this is one of those projects and girls and holdbacks where we will continue to check to see if the testing is available. And as you guys can see, she has some size on her. As she continues to get bigger and bigger, we're just going to keep feeding her and letting her do her thing. But if the test comes out, then we'll test her. If she isn't, 100% het for our paint, then we'll end up letting her go. And again, it'll be, oh, I'm sorry, mama. It'll be our loss because, again, we fattened her up. She eats on a regular schedule. Sorry for scaring you. She eats on a regular schedule. So, again, nowhere near the value of what DG or het DG, het paint, Orange Dream would go for, because she wouldn't be 100% het paint. But we still have to feed her and care for her and make sure we have the infrastructure to do what we plan on doing. So hopefully that didn't confuse you even more. We really want to make complete sense, give you guys very relevant and needed content. Hopefully you are reevaluating as seasons progress, as time progress, and putting that concept into your brain. This is something to think about, because we're not talking from the perspective of, oh, we breed our own rodents, which would be lovely. Don't get me wrong, we do to a certain extent, but we still, I want to say, pay out, $400 every single week, $350, $400 every week to feed all of our breeders. We don't produce any rodents to feed our breeders. We buy them every week. We're producing, thankfully enough, thanks to our rodent specialist, Audra, our pups and everything for our hatchlings. That's been wonders. It saved us a ton of money. But if you think about the concept, for us, I'll use this for an example. If, we're paying $2 a rat, $1.50, $2 a rat to feed this potential holdback, to get it up to roughly, 1,000 grams in a year and a half time. You're still looking at spending anywhere from 50 to, $65 for that one snake. So if you're spending $50 to $65 on that one snake that's already your holdback, then sometimes it just is what it is. It's a necessary expense, but at the same time, you also have to know when to say when and when to cut your losses. If by chance that project or that holdback snake ends up coming to a point where it's no longer a holdback for you in your collection, you have to know when to say when and let it go. Prime example, if we were able to go out there and grab up, a Hidden Gene Wama stranger clown het puzzle female, and it's extremely reasonable, $1,000 or less, then yes, we would grab that up. Now for us, we would still hold on to our holdbacks because that specific project is so untapped with those genes involved that there's not a lot of it out there. So it would best interest us, like I said in the video last week, to have the numbers on your side to continue to expand. If we were looking for one right now, we couldn't find one. That's what it boils down to. But for other projects, like for example, the clown pied, okay, cool. We have multiple clown pied girls. We have breeder girls going. We have a combination that we just showed you of a clown pied girl. If we're able to get our hands on 1,000 gram, fire, Orange Dream, string, something crazy, 3-4 gene visual clown pod female, and she's already 800 to 1,000 grams, and we get her at an insane price, under $1,000, you may find that we end up releasing that specific combo clown pie girl and let her go to someone else that needs her. The point is, we have multiple clown pied females breeding right now, but the female that we held back will move us forward. And if we can actually get more genes, bigger female, concentrating on exactly the genes that we want to work in, then we would release that female. So things go hand in hand. You have to reevaluate your plans as things progress. This is just something that we do. Hopefully it can help you guys out too. Just because you throw something over into the holdback rack doesn't necessarily mean it stays a holdback. There's things going on in the hobby all the time, whether the hobby is on the up or down, doesn't matter, where you have to keep your eyes peeled for any and every deal that comes across, whether it's racks, whether it's snakes. You may not necessarily be shopping, but you may have to when these things present themselves. So hopefully this little video helps explain our process of selecting holdbacks, knowing that every breeding, every pairing that we do, we're shooting for something in that pairing to hold back, or multiple combinations in that pairing to hold back, whether it's gender, male or female, whether it's combinations, whether it's something we want to produce from there. We want to make sure that it's hitting exactly what we need, which will initially deem it as a holdback here at Flawless. And we will revisit that, months to come, 6 months, a year, and see if it's still worth holding back and not buying forward, transitioning. It may be a project we decide that we want to get out of completely. Then that would not be a holdback anymore. So again, don't do it strictly off of numbers. When you do a pairing and you successfully have eggs and they go to full process, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to generate holdbacks from that clutch. You want to make sure that you write it down, pen to paper, your entire business plan. What's your game plan? What's your goal? And don't settle. Settling will have you extremely upset. Talk to Darren, the homie Darren. We sat and we talked so long. He's really working super hard trying to work on his collection so he can retire from work and literally fully enjoy his collection. And one of his goals was to have 100 breeder females. Since we met, since we talked, since we networked the whole 9 yards, it's still a very, very relevant goal for him to have 100 breeder females. But since then, he was getting rather close, and now he's so far from that goal. And the reason being is he ended up getting rid of a lot of females that were just 12 egg layers, single genes, things that were not going to get him in the direction of hitting his goals. And he moved them on to hopefully breeders or keepers that's going to put them on the path to hit their goals, which obviously puts him at a female deficit that now he either has to produce or purchase females in those projects to get him closer to that 100 female breeder goal. Anyway, it's Will, Flawless Exotic Creations, and we out.